Hello everyone. Yes, Liverpool kicked off their Premier League campaign with a disappointing 2-2 draw with Fulham at Craven Cottage. The Reds came from a goal behind to level things up and then went a goal behind again, then level things up and then ultimately ran out of time to get the win that we were all hoping and praying for, to give ourselves a great sense of just comfort and satisfaction and all that kind of stuff as we embark on yet another horrendously, doubtless stressful season against Man City, where you need to feel as though every game needs to be won, which is of course not the case. But it doesn't help, I certainly carry this. I've been thinking about this in the build to this game, about how you always feel like you need to win your first game of the season. I always felt like that for me, is if you never won your first game, it felt like you never kind of met your objectives in the season, which is, I don't know if that's based in science in any way, shape or form, by the way. But I always got a little bit of a sense of, you had all this optimism, and if you didn't win your opening game, it was like the season never ended how you wanted it to end. Now that is just like, again, if someone wants to do the data on that, please feel free to tell me I'm miles wrong on that. But that's the weird little voice in the back of my head on this one. But yeah, look, it was one of those days, wasn't it? Liverpool didn't get out the blocks. Fulham got in Liverpool's faces in a very, very big way. They couldn't settle on the ball. They couldn't get the passing game going. The long passing game was absolutely abysmal. And then and if that's the case, fine. But then you've got to have your counter-pressing game on, and Liverpool's counter-pressing game wasn't on point either. All of the aspects and all the ways in which Liverpool can beat you, so many of them just were not working for the Reds today. They managed to engineer things. They managed to turn things around a little bit. And I will talk about this on the instant match reaction, which stay in a bit when we finally get back to it, because I've seen a bit of data and a bit of analysis. But there's a good tweet from Andrew Beasley on this, which I'll discuss on the IMR when I've had time to kind of digest it a little bit. But yeah, ultimately, Liverpool did create some good chances. They get a goal for Darwin Nunez, who's good, a goal for Mohamed Salah as well. Jordan Henderson hits the woodwork. Diaz hits the woodwork. And a couple of other decent half chances, but feels like clutching at straws, because the emotions in the immediate aftermath of the game, it does feel like a disappointment to not win against a newly promoted side. And that is ultimately, I think, how most people will blanket cover it. But I want to know your thoughts. We're live now. If you're a YouTube member, you can use the live chat if you want to. Ross has put a tweet out at the Redmen TV as well, asking for your reactions. And if you're a Club Legend subscriber on Plus, you can use the Discord live show chat channel as well. I've already welcomed Mr. Ivanov as a first teamer, but you can get your comments in there, mate. Andy App says, well, it's going to be another one of those seasons. Bad start, but a long way to go. Blood pressure tablets at the ready, everyone. Onwards and upwards. I mean, I suppose what you mean by those seasons is that ones where we don't piss the league, which is every season, basically, apart from the one where we did win the league. Yeah, you're right. Look, said this with like half an hour to go. I'm not sure I'm ready to have to feel all of my feelings with the footy. I enjoy it when it's a nice, pleasant pastime where Liverpool just rock up, play some good footy and win. And I was a little part of it, was hoping this would be that newly promoted team, get a nice 3-0 win. Like Norwich last season, just go out there, play some decent footy, show some positive signs, win, get off and have a little bit of a break till the next game. Whereas now, we don't play until a week on Monday. So we've just got to fester in it till that time. So yeah, that'll be fun. Right, Mark Cullum. Mate, good result compared to performance level from us. Too many players didn't perform to the level we know we can, but it's a long season. I feel slightly aggrieved by ref decisions, but on to the next game. I actually think that's probably the most mature comment I think I've seen since the game finished. Brilliant analysis from Mark there, which I agree with. Liverpool could theoretically have won that game. Like, there was enough there for us to maybe take something from it. A little bit of luck one way or the other. And in terms of the refereeing performance, again, you could make that case. The conversation I had, and this again, it feels like sour grapes after the fact, but we literally exist to talk through potentials around football matches and all the ins and outs of stuff. So let's have the conversation. And I'll ask you at home, if the ball goes dead after the Mitrovic foul, so let's say he miscontrols it and it goes out for a goal kick, the referee doesn't blow immediately for the penalty and it gets checked by VAR. Does VAR give that as a penalty? And my answer is no, because they thought it wasn't. There was clearly just about enough contact there for them to not say it was a clear and obvious error that needed overturning. My feeling is that it's because it's so minimal contact. I think if it was the other way around, they'd probably say similar. I don't think there's enough there to overturn the decision if it had been given one way or the other, which is the most frustrating thing about technology. Because look, in the years gone by, it's the penalty. You can be aggrieved, but it's a penalty, and there's no like reprieve. But the idea that we sit and we think about the idea that someone's pouring over it adds to the frustration of it. And the other point, which I'm sure Mark is making, and I mentioned this on the final whistle, is Henderson's fouled in the build to their goal. Now, does it have a direct impact? No, because I mean, Jordan Henderson would have been racing back regardless. I'm certain of it. And I wonder whether Jordan's actually stayed down a little bit more because he knows that often these things get pulled back. Maybe. And that's another fault of the culture that VAR has created. But it's not like you're missing a centre-half. So it's not like it has a tangible impact. But the point is, it's like the penalty thing. If the referee in real time just gives that, no one's saying that's not a foul. It is a foul on Jordan Henderson. The game goes dead. Liverpool get a free kick and then they build from there. So, yeah, and the officiating was a little inconsistent. There were things that were given as fouls. And this is for Fulham as well. We got away with a lot of like mad shoulder barges and pushing guys to the floor, and then they got penalised for stuff that was, it was, the refereeing was a bit mad. But yeah, I get that. I feel a bit aggrieved by that. I don't know. I feel a bit laissez-faire by it. I'm annoyed because in that regard, I don't like to see Liverpool lose, and I'm going to have to sit with a cloud over my head now for the next week, which is horrendous. But there was even in a shite game, which I think the point you make, Liverpool doing. I've got just about enough good points in that game. Oh, it's maybe a stretch. Well, we'll see. Let's see what everyone else has said. FPL skills. Poor from us today. Fulham outplayed us, overwhelmed us, and really blew us away in the opening 45. Nunez scored a great goal. However, his build-up play, coming to the ball, etc., needs improving. Yeah, he's awkward, isn't he? He again, this is the thing with big lads, and this is why I'm concerned about us putting all of our hopes and dreams onto Darwin Nunez just yet. We might not have a choice, and he might have actually played himself into contention, because you can't look away from the fact that we've been a much more dangerous prospect when he's been on the pitch. But also, and I'm sure Liverpool will have this analysed, there's a timing of it. As games wear on, defenders get more tired, and it gives him more opportunities and more space in which to operate. But he's a positive. He's a big positive from the game, without a shadow of a doubt. But yeah, I agree. Fulham's game plan rocked Liverpool, and we didn't really get to grips with it. It's certainly on the first 15, we got to grips with it, and then they managed to get back into the game again. There was the only really consistent periods in the game was about 15 to 25 when Liverpool looked in charge, and then around the time, but from us scoring the first goal to scoring the second goal, minus the bit where they score the penalty and totally throw it all into disarray, we feel like we're on top in that spell. But yeah, Fulham deserve credit. They were the better team, and I'm certain a lot of them will be thinking maybe they could have got more from it. And yeah, they'd be absolutely within their right to feel that way. Are you, man? Patanek. With the talent we've got up front, seems that Bobby is better behind the forwards. Still a traditional number 10 role like Ozil, who just receives and threads passes, not a starter in the front three anymore. Yeah. I mean, look, Liverpool were crying out for that linchman between midfield and attack. Milner added to it. Harvey added to it brilliantly. Bobby can do that. He can do that. He did look a little off it. He just looked off it today. It wasn't a good game, but I'm not having this idea that Bobby Firmino's done and dusted or whatever. He's a great player, but it would have been interesting to see whether we could have actually just kept him on the pitch, kept him and Nunez on the pitch. I don't know what the thinking was behind that. Well, I do, because ultimately Milner and Harvey have good games. So, but I wouldn't shock me to see us do a bit more of that, because I would like that idea, particularly if Thiago's now out for a couple of games. It's just whether we trust the depth we've got in attack, and whether we need to keep one of Nunez and Firmino in reserve, because at the moment, until Jota gets back, we could just do with Diogo Jota in the squad, really, couldn't we? It would certainly help. Anyway, Rachel Todd It's not how you start, it's how you finish. Yeah, and again, Liverpool started poorly but finished better. And also, yeah, in terms of the league, I agree. Look, there's a lot of anxiety around it because we know how good City could be. But ultimately, we actually haven't seen Man City play a game in the Premier League yet. They'll probably just blitz everyone in front of them. Probably will. And we'll be in for another stressful ride, but they might not. And it will be about how Liverpool react to this. It's done now. What comes next is going to be more important. After last week's performance, says Martin Jeremy, I expected a rout, but this game just shows how hard this league is. I agree. And that's the difference. You know, there's a good article on The Athletic, actually. I think it was Michael Cox wrote this about how, and it totally actually took something that had been in my head, and I think I'd mentioned on a previous show. There's no, like, dog long ball teams anymore, no Sunday League, park, alehouse football teams. Everyone's got pace and direct and a will to get on the ball and play football and get in your face. It's a new challenge this season. Fulham in years gone by would have come up and been an absolute walkover, but you can see, that's what I mean. I think we're a bit disrespectful sometimes to Fulham, and there's nothing wrong with being like, well, we're Liverpool and we should be setting high standards for ourselves. That's fine, but like, you've got to also give credit to Fulham. They've come up, and if that's like one of the teams that's tipped for relegation, then that speaks to the volume of quality in the Premier League. I totally agree with that point. Dickie Reds didn't need that first game back. We were terrible, but showed some fight at least. Yeah, exactly. You know, Liverpool showed enough there that said they weren't being totally passive. They were just making bad decisions. Sometimes you just get into a negative loop on things, and that was what was tough. That Milner helped straighten that out, certainly. And again, Elliott, just lads who wanted to be on the ball, who wanted to make brave runs, really added to what we were doing. And again, Nunez just being in and around the right places, being a handful, helped us. But yeah, it was ultimately a poor performance from Liverpool, wasn't it? It's Crossbow with the super chat. That Salah Nunez partnership is going to be huge. Could very well be indeed. Said this, I'm not against Salah having 20 goals and 20 assists this season. 25 goals. Stuart Armstrong, trust the players know themselves they were subpar. Klopp wouldn't have had to say that much at half-time. Hopefully a good wake-up call. 4-2-3-1 with Elliott in the middle, and Nunez was boss, though. Yeah, definitely more made it more exciting, more interesting. And I mean, it kind of wasn't that, to be fair. It was a bit more like 4-2-4, 4-1, 2-3. I don't know how we want to put that one, but yeah. Dickie says Mitrovic is too clever for Verge. Not saying he dived or anything, but he was kind of, yeah, he was good. A really, really good performance from Mitrovic, absolutely. Hey, Rumba. But I think we were not ready for the physical fight. Yeah, I agree with that. I think they caught us a bit flat-footed. Mentioned it to stay post-match. Shades of the Villarreal team, where we probably could have done with just a few more canny ball players on the pitch. In midfield, even just one more, just Harvey in that game. But look, the point is as well, this is where the season is. Liverpool are trying to get all their players up to speed. This is the end of pre-season, but the season's already started. So they're obviously one Hendo and Thiago and Fabinho to get minutes on the pitch, to get them ready. So I think that's why they've made it in future games. And I think Naby not being available is a chance. Naby plays in this game as well, but he's obviously been ill. Yeah, it is what it is. The man formerly known as LFCJ. Yeah, he just got it wrong today. Should have started Carvalho and Nunez as and that penalty was bought. Yeah, and he says they're still in his bottom three for the season. Interesting. Right, we're going to come to the Club Legends in a moment. So tag me, Club Legends, in the live show chat, and I'll get through some of yours, and then I'll come back to the live YouTube chat as well. So you've got plenty of time to get your comments in there. I have completely failed to get the tweets up ready, so I will get them up right now. I obviously got bored. I haven't done that, so I have a little flit around. Anywho. Big shout out to our Chloe Bloxham as well, who's our new superstar, who's at Craven Cottage today. You had the long old coach there and back. But yeah, her post-match video will be up shortly on the YouTube channel. Some great photos on our socials from Craven Cottage. Beautiful day in the sunshine, if not beautiful performance from the Reds. Craig Editon says, didn't deserve anything really, so sloppy. What happened to refs not giving pens where there's not enough contact? Clearly not enough for him to go over. Lucky to get a point though. Yeah, I think all them things are true. I mean, look, it's one of them, isn't it? You know, if Salah does that, we're saying, oh, look, we're all like hyper-analysing it, zooming in on the teeny tiniest contact and going, look, fair enough. He's a centre forward. He's got his team a penalty. Fair play to him. There is contact and he gets it. LFC Seattle. Just think we get to do that 37 more times. That's just in the league. I hope you've all done your off-season cardio. Yeah. we should look. Are we not prepared for this by now? That it's going to be a long old slog regardless. And I agree. I think everyone was looking at it going, okay, well, this is 3 points, and we've got a decent start to the season. Maybe if we start drawing things down the line, then that'll be something that we need to work on. No one was prepared for Liverpool to not start with a win, which is maybe a bit of arrogance on our part, because again, look how Fulham played there. Fulham with no mugs. That was a good performance from Fulham. They deserve what they got from it. But yeah, look, it's going to be what it's going to be. I still think Liverpool are going to win the league. Do you? Let me know in the comments. Sport Musty, points dropped. Officials to blame. I'll take that. I like blaming other people for our own deficiencies when quite clearly Liverpool just weren't very good, as well as the officials not being great. Mitch Hayden. Hayfele, frustrating, never a pen, looked way off it for the first 35 minutes. Nunez scoring, assisting on debut, a good sign. Yeah, absolutely. You know, he's just up and running. He's up and running in a big way. I think that's a very, very good positive indeed. Dave Nelson saying poor all over today. Some of that from Fulham pressure, but a lot of poor passing and decision making as well. Won no second balls and left chasing shadows all game. Yeah, I mean, not all game, but I agree. I mean, look, I'm splitting hairs for the sake of it, but I agree. I think that Fulham made life difficult for us in midfield in a huge, huge way. They were happy for our centre halves to have the ball. It left us playing lots of long balls. They dominated in the air, and then we didn't get on with the second balls. There was opportunities for Liverpool to be better in that, and that comes down to individual performances, but also that Fulham left it for us. They go on then do it, and we didn't. So good on Fulham for that. That's a good win for Fulham in that regards. They've won those battles by forcing us to do things that then we didn't capitalise on, but in other games we will. And it spoke more to Liverpool not being fully ready for this season, for whatever reason that might be. Rather than I hope it being a deeper rooted issue. But yeah, it was just a poor performance from Liverpool in a whole host of ways. They're good enough to get their head in the game and turn things around, and ultimately they just didn't. Right, over to the club legends. Irish Red said Henderson was shocking today. Not the only one, but this has been a trend for him for at least 18 months now in comparison with our other midfielders. Once we get everyone back fit, I think we need to rethink of his role in the team. Doesn't suit the 8 at all anymore. Okay, yeah, you know what? We were much better with him in the 6, so based on the evidence of that, I think that's fine. I think this idea that Henderson's been poor for 18 months is wildly overstated. I thought he started the season brilliantly last year. Like, Liverpool's best play was Henderson right midfield, obviously Trent right back and Salah up front. The best football we played all came from that triangle in the first sort of, 10 games of the season. Well, after that, because obviously he doesn't start the season because he has the Euros, and he starts slowly into the season once Harvey gets injured, and then he comes back into that. So after the first 3, you take my point. And then the back end of the season, I thought he was really good as well, but in rotation. And I agree, it's as much about getting someone who's just a little bit more attacking naturally, just maybe a little bit nippier on the ball. I've got no problem with seeing Keita in there. As I said, I wonder whether Keita would have started that if he was available for this. Harvey Elliott, maybe Fabio Carvalho. I agree that I think we can get more. I think there's going to be games. I mean, look, Henderson was really good against Man City last weekend. That midfield was really good against Man City. But this was a game, weirdly, where we just needed to be a little bit sharper in our passing. Interesting point on this, though, by the way, is like Thiago was rubbish too, and his passing, he's our king passer, supreme passing midfielder on the planet, and even he really struggled under Fulham's press to get himself up to speed and get some really solid connections on it. Fabinho was shite as well, but I don't think Henderson was shocking. My point is, I don't think Henderson was shocking. I thought he was good once we moved him to the 6, and I thought Liverpool were much better in general when he moved into that. But I think even in comparison, if we're comparing to all our midfielders, our midfield got a shocker today, all told. And it was improved by Milner and Elliott, certainly. But at no point did it totally get a grip on the football match. Moet K, that was a proper lethargic performance from the Reds, but to act like we've lost the league is a bit of an overreaction. Being disappointed also fine, with so less margin for error against this City side. If we were up there challenging for the title again, games against City will be more of a decider than this. Dropping points against promoted side does make it feel like the advantage City before they even kick the ball mad. Yeah, it is. And that's I agree. And that's why I'm saying I'm not too disheartened by the response and reaction. A, because people have been losing choosing the Reds over draws as Liverpool fans for the last 12 years while we've been doing this. So I recognise the symptoms of it's just more people feel a bit emotional. It's fine to get your emotions out there largely in text form. But it does. That's City and Liverpool. Both fans feel this, by the way. City fans, we're not privy to this because we're not in the bubble. But like City fans' heads fell off because we beat them in the big 50p last week, and it's a glorified friendly with a plate at the end of it. And they were gutted. They were absolutely gutted. And they feel like they're in a massive amount of turmoil or whatever. But you're right. They've not played, but we feel like they've won when they've not even played because we now expect it from them, and they probably might. But at the moment they haven't, and we'll just have to see. And ultimately, it's one game. We'll see. We'll just have to see. Jake Ali R says mindset was off from the start and midfield wasn't involved in the first half and through 60 minutes. Doing well against City last season may have been a wolf in sheep's clothing in some ways. Overall, they responded well. Dropping a couple of points now can be a real motivator going forward. If they come out similarly next weekend, it'll worry a little, but I'm okay for now. First game is tricky. We will gain points when City drop points and vice versa. All about the totals in the end, all as well. Great comment. Thanks so much, Jake. Fair there, he says, actually, Fulham was out to prove they belong, whereas we came up a game where we handled City, two different mindsets that didn't do as well today. That's interesting. Moet also said, I also thought Van Dijk and Trent looked too cocky today. They tend to be a few games every season, it seems. Yeah, you're right. Do the simple things first. When Trent was playing those, getting up and linking up with people more, we were better for it. But also, he did play some fantastic passes. Virgil's long passing was horrendous today. Absolutely horrendous. Signing Jay. Salah and Nunez will be exciting. Young boys look good. Mitch Wilms. I'm not convinced it's a bad thing. Klopp got to see Darwin could make an impact so quickly in an actual Open Premier League game, in an actual Premier League match that matters. Could be the best thing about today's match. Where we're ready to move into Darwin era in the 9 position and out of the Bobby era, as bittersweet as that may be. We've evolved, so to speak. Look, it's going to be horses for courses. That my concern about this is now we're now Darwin Nunez FC, and that's something Liverpool need to be careful about because we've developed so many ways of winning football matches, and there's not one way of winning. Because if we beat City last week and then we've lost to Fulham, the logic should follow. We should be able to beat absolutely fucking anyone because we've beat City, but because you need different approaches to different things. And look, Nunez has performed really well, and I am made up. I'm so happy with him. But again, let's not be too quick to write Roberto Firmino off because he's a phenomenal footballer and he's going to have big games for us. He's going to score big goals for us. He's going to set up big goals for us this season. It's a long old slog. We're going to need all of our senior players, world-class footballers, stay world-class footballers, basically. Yes, right, Dan, let's quickly see if we've got anything going on the YouTube live chat. Yes. Eric Forbes, Ox bursting through midfield would have been helpful today. Maybe. I'm not sure there was really the space for it. You needed bravery in possession, and Harvey added that in a big way, and Milner added that. Milner just was out there having fun. Milner, again, for our oldest midfielder, he was probably our best midfielder on the day, just for what he added to the side. He was, loads of energy, loads of intent. I thought he was really good. Leach 96 with the 179. Anywhere on the Thiago injury? No. The fact that he was stood up receiving treatment suggests it's probably a little thing. I don't know. On the Michael Owen visual pain scale, which I have been honing over the last 25 years, I would say a week or two max for Thiago based on that, but that's just purely based on how much of a grimace a player has on his face when he gets hurt, based on years and years of watching Michael Owen pick up injury after injury. Right, last comment. Agreeable Animal says, would love to see Bobby in midfield with Nunez up top. I would be happy to see anything, any matchup of players, anything where we just see Liverpool win football matches. Good with that? Joe, you all right? There we go. So, I'd be happy. Whatever. We'll do whatever, and then we'll win football matches and everything will be fine. But I love Bobby Firmino. Everyone loves Bobby Firmino. The idea that he's gone too far too soon is us going too far too soon. Right, sounds. Steve's coming back with player ratings. Wow. That's going to be interesting to see what he comes up with there. Will Jordan Henderson get a 10 again? We'll have to find out. Check back, because I've got loads more to say about this game, and Steve has too, I'm certain of it. There's some interesting stuff that's come out. Obviously, we'll react to Klopp's post-match interviews and all that kind of stuff. So check back. Head over to Redmen Plus. I know it's a bit of a kick in the teeth and it's a bit of a downer, but if you want to join our Club Legends, you can do. And if you want to just get more excellent Liverpool content, video, podcasts throughout the season. We've got an interview lined up with Liverpool's assistant manager Pep Lijnders this week to help promote his new book. So that's going to be coming up on Redmen Plus. But I'll ask him about how he feels after this game, so we'll get some proper analysis straight from the horse's mouth. Yes. It is a bit of a downer, but it is the first game. In fact, no, it's the second game. We won one. We've won one and drawn one, and we've added a big 50p to the trophy cabinet. Things could be a lot worse. It's just a shame that we don't get to sit back with a big cocky smile on our faces and enjoy the rest of the weekend. But yeah, Liverpool are going to have a very good season, mark my words. It's just a little bit disappointing because we all just want to see Liverpool win absolutely every game because we're all deep down massive Liverpool fans, aren't we? We are. Anyway, thank you so much. More from me in a bit. Ta-ra.
Get yourself signed up for Redmen Plus today. Go to redmenplus.com. There is loads of benefits other than the incredible content that we produce week in, week out on the team that we all support. You can get 20% off merchandise. You can get access to a Discord server where it's Liverpool 24/7, 365. Get over there, redmenplus.com.